everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Google Calendar event from Salesforce task. So I am a project manager in a business and I manage all the projects in the task of my business, all the projects with the help of Salesforce. I want that as soon as I'm going to create a new task in my Salesforce account, I want to create that task as an event in my Google Calendar so my team can stay on the same page. Now, doing this manually, creating the event in my Google Calendars from the task that I've created in my Salesforce is a very time-consuming task. So what I did was I simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. So here in this automation, what we are going to learn is that as soon as I'm going to create a new task in my Salesforce account, automatically that same task is going to be created as an event in my Google Calendar. And for that, I'm going to create an automation between Salesforce and Google Calendar with the help of Pabbly Connect. So if you want to learn about this amazing automation, then let me take you all to my screen. Welcome to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Google Calendar event from Salesforce task. I am a project manager in a business and I am managing a project and we use Salesforce to track important milestones and deadlines. Every time a task is created or updated in Salesforce, whether it's a key project, deadline or a meeting, it instantly have to show up on our Google Calendar. This automation ensures that my team stays aligned with all the key dates and avoids missing important events, making project management smoother and more efficient. And we are going to be creating this amazing automation with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see the all applications that Pabbly Connect provides us, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on Access Now. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on the top right corner button right over here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow over here, I'm going to give it as Create Google Calendar Event from Salesforce Task. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this field. So from the drop down, you need to select the folder in which I want to save this workflow in. I've selected the folder. So after giving a name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create Google Calendar Event from Salesforce Task. And over here, you can see there are two windows in front of you. One says Trigger, other says Action. What is Trigger and Action? Trigger and action are the two most important concepts, principles of the workflow that we're going to create in Pabbly Connect. Over here, trigger says when this happens and action says do this. That means our action is a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application, what we are going to do is we are going to select it as Salesforce. As our objective is that as soon as a new task is going to be created in my Salesforce account, automatically Pabbly Connect should capture the response of that. Okay, that's why the trigger application I've selected it as Salesforce. And for the trigger event over here, as I want to capture the response of the new task being created, I'm going to select the trigger event as new task and then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you on which you can add new connection or else you can select the existing connection. After that, click on connect with Salesforce button right over here. A window is then going to appear in front of you which is asking for the permission. So I'm going to click on this allow button. As this is saved process and my data is perfectly saved with Pabbly Connect, so I'm going to click on this allow button. As I've done that, you can see we successfully authorized Salesforce to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, over here it is saying save and send test request. As I'm going to click on this button right over here, the last task that I've created in my Salesforce account is going to be captured in this response right over here. As I want to capture the response of the task, what I'm going to do is firstly I'm going to create a new task. Okay, for that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this more button right over here and click on this new task button. Okay, I'm going to create a new task. For the subject of the task over here, I'm going to give it as finalize project plan. So this is the subject. Okay, for the due date I'm going to select the due date as 24th of October 2024. Okay, it is asking for the details which I don't require, so I'm going to skip the part. For the assign to, I'm going to select it over here, the assign to. For the status over here, I'm going to select it as not started, as the task has been not started right now. Okay, I'm going to click on this create button. Okay, as you can see, a task in the name of finalize project plan has been successfully created in my Salesforce account. As the task is now successfully created, if I want to make any changes, I'm going to click on this edit button right over here. For the priority, I want it to be high, so I'm going to change it over here. Okay, so this is the task right over here. Okay, if you want, you can add a description. So for the description over here, I'm going to write the description as, for the description, I've written the description, review the project plan and finalize all the details before the next client meeting. So this is the comment you can see right over here. Then I'm going to click on this save button right over here to save the changes. So this is the task that I've created. Okay, as the task has now been successfully created, now I'm going to click on this save and send test request button. Okay, as I've done that, you can see we've received a response right over here, which is a positive response. The name of the task comes as finalized project plan. The status comes as over here non-started, as you can see right over here. The attribute type comes as task, as the task has been created. If I'm going to further scroll down, the priority comes over here as high. You can see the last modified date has been present right over here. You can see with the description that we have added the description, you can see right over here with all the other details, and the activity date, also the date that we have selected, that's the due date. You can see that is 24th of October 2024. Okay, as we have received the response over here successfully, this means that Salesforce has now been connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. Now whenever the task is going to be created in our Salesforce account, automatically Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of that. Now if you're not going to receive this response immediately, then do not worry, as Salesforce is a polling based application. That means that over here you can see it says 10 minutes. This is the polling duration. That means in every 10 minutes, whenever the new data is going to be captured by Salesforce, it is going to send that new data to Pabbly Connect in this polling duration. That is the every 10 minutes. If you want to make changes in this polling duration, go to the three dots and set trigger time right over here. If I'm going to click on this drop down, you can see that the minimum polling time over here, the duration comes as 10 minutes to the maximum being 24 hours. You can select the polling duration according to a requirement and then click on the save button. Okay, as I wanted for the 10 minutes, I've selected the polling duration as 10 minutes. Okay, so if you're not going to receive the response immediately, then do not worry. Okay, so this means our trigger setup has now been done. As the trigger setup is done, my objective is that as soon as I'm going to create a new task in my Salesforce, that task should be created as an event in my Google Calendar. Okay, I want to create that task as an event in my Google Calendar. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our action step according to that. And for the action application over here, I'm going to select it as Google Calendars. So I'm going to select my action application over here as Google Calendar. And for the action event over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as create an event, as I want to create an event in my Google Calendar. So that is why for the action event, I'm going to select it as create an event. And then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection. After that, I'm going to click on sign in with Google. After click on sign in with Google, you can see a window is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the permission. So I'm going to click on this allow button. As this is saved process, my data is perfectly saved with Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to click on this allow button right over here. As I've done that, we have successfully authorized Google Calendar to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, it is asking for us to select a calendar. So I've created a calendar in the name of events. You can see right over here. So what I'm going to do is for the calendar over here, I'm going to select the calendar that is the events right over here. Okay. After selecting the calendar, it is asking for the title, description and all the other details. So for the title over here, for the data, what we are going to do is we are going to map the data. Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. And how mapping works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field over here, you can see this was the previous step of this workflow, that is Salesforce new task. And as I'm going to click on it, you can see this was the same response that was captured in our previous step. As over here it is looking for the title, over here we've received the subject of the task that we have created. So with the title, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the data of the subject that I've received in my previous response. As I've selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped. And as I map the data has now become dynamic. That means whenever a new response is going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this mapped data. Next, it is asking for the description. So I'm going to map the data of the description that I've received in our previous step. So this is the description. I'm going to map the data. Okay. After that, it is asking for the location. I do not require the field, so I'm going to skip the part. Next, it is asking for the start date time. The start date time of this event that we are creating. Okay. The start date time is going to be the date and the time on which I have created this task right over here. Okay. This task has been created. I want that date and time to be the start date time. Over here, we have to enter the data of the date time in the UTC time zone format right over here. So what I'm going to do is, we have received the start date time, that is right over here. I'm going to search for the date. We have received the last modified date, the created date. You can see this is the created date in a UTC time zone format. So what I'm going to do is, for the start date time, I'm going to select this UTC time zone format itself. Okay. So this is the start date. And the end date is going to be the due date right over here. We have received the end date also, the activity date. This is the due date. Over here, we have received the activity date in a normal format of Y, MM, and DD. I require the end date time also in a UTC time zone format. So what we are going to do is, we are going to change the format. And how we're going to do that? By using date time formatter by Pabbly, which is an amazing feature by Pabbly Connect, with the help of which we can format the date and time according to the requirement. For that, I've added another action step to this workflow. And for the action application over here, I'm going to select as date/time formatter by Pabbly. And for the action event, I'm going to select as format date with time zone. Okay. And then I'm going to click on this connect button. As I've done that, it is asking for the date that we want to format. So for that date, I'm going to map the date of the activity date, that is the due date that I've received, that I want to change the format of. Okay. For the from format, I've received the format of the date in a MM, and DD format. So I'm going to select the from format. And for the to format over here, I'm going to select the data of a UTC time zone format right over here. Okay. Next, it is asking for the from time zone. So for the from time zone over here, I'm going to search for the Asia Kolkata time zone. And for the to time zone also, I'm going to select it as the Asia Kolkata time zone as well. And after filling all the required details, I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, we have received the date and the time, the 24th October 2024 in a UTC time zone format. You can see right over here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to simply map this data that we have received right over here of the end date time. I'm going to map the data. Okay. So this is the end date time right over here. For the time zone, as I've selected the time zone as Asia Kolkata, I'm going to select that same time zone. For the visibility, I'm going to select it as public, and I don't require the guest field and the event field right over here. So I'm going to skip the part. After that, I'm going to simply click on this save and send test request button right over here. As I've done that, over here we've received the response. The status comes as confirmed. You can see right over here, as the response is a positive response. I'm going to open my Google Calendars. As I open the Google Calendars, you can see right over here, the project starts from the finalized date. Project plan starts from 17th to 20th. You can see right over here. If I'm going to open the project, there's a description. You can see right over here with the starting date and the ending date. You can see right over here. Okay. As now over here, the event is been successfully created in my Google Calendars. This means that we successfully created an automation between Salesforce and Google Calendar with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now, to sum up till now what we have done, I am a project manager in a business, and I am managing a project, and I use Salesforce to track important milestones in my business. I want that as soon as I'm going to create a new task in my Salesforce account, I want to also update that task. I'm going to create an event of that task in my Google Calendar so that my team can always be notified of whatever is going on. Okay. So for that, I've created this amazing automation between Salesforce and Google Calendar with the help of Pabbly Connect. So this was it for this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment down below if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video. Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.